Yeah, what up, great people? This is Ondonostalgia, and I'm live one-on-one with Damn Fat. Yeah, GK Apon.
What's up, Irish? Good to be
Ojú orí ẹgbó.
What's up, Irish?
How everything? How has it been?
Not bad, not bad. Try it, Baba. I try, Baba.
You're welcome to Ondonostalgia. Yeah, I would like you to tell us, like, how has being an Ondo person helped shape your values and principle? You give?
Yeah, I mean, being an Ondo person comes with a lot of prestige. It comes with a lot of respect. There's a saying, and I'll say it in Ondo. It's only an Ondo.
Yes, Onuya.
So that's rubbish, yeah. So I mean, when you find yourself in the outside world, especially within the Yoruba community, it comes with respect. It comes with dignity. There's a lot of people. I mean, dignitaries in the past. About this on you of his a blessed memory. It's been an inspiration to so many of us. The Adaja of this world. So I mean, it's a lot. I mean, I'm so proud to come from Ondo, and I mean, I can definitely speak loud about it and be appreciative of my origin, pretty much.
Wow, that's great. That's great. So being an Ondo person comes with a lot of prestige. Like, hey, Sonu Yamon Nomando, that's just it. Well, like, tell us your growing up in Ondo experiences.
Yeah, I mean, growing up in Ondo is there's a lot of nostalgia effects. Imole Ranti. For instance, Omodagba Ondo, don't be me say, I'm a typical Ondo boy, and in terms of education, I started my education from Serapis Kiddies Nursery and Primary School near Ademulegun Road. It's one of the best schools in Ondo, and it taught us a lot about how to become a man in reality in life. And going for earlier on, there's a lot of humility in the country, in the town. Well, and I said something about it's only an Ondo. You keep growing with that mentality. At the end of the day, Loba Ataiba, Obodo Shishe, though Shishe that though Ajid become a video because you have so many people to look up to. You understand that you want to become a great person in life. So, like I said, I started off my education life in Sarah First Nursery Primary School, and from there, went to Adeyemi Demonstration Secondary School. And from there went to Adekunle Adash University. So I'm a full blown, Ondo boy. I know all the environment that will teach us Odo Shida, lọ sí Yaba, lọ sí Odo Jomu, lọ sí Adesupa, lọ sí Better Love, lọ sí Efegara. So there's a lot. So I would say so much that because Ondo is one of the reasons why I am who I am today. Because my parents my parents actually made us realize that there's a lot that you can achieve, even living born in a society like this. So it's been amazing. It's also, and I just want to use the opportunity to tell a lot of young people that are going up to say, look, even if you are from Ondo town, there's a lot that you can achieve. Don't feel so much. Ondo City, Gimogun. There's a lot you can achieve. There's so many people that have done great things, and obviously you will not be an exception. So yeah, it's a privilege, and I'm so excited. I'm so proud about. Okay, I've been proud of your heritage. Yeah, absolutely.
Great, that's great. For taking us back in time. Yeah. Share us some.
Nostalgic events. There's a lot. There's a lot. Um, I mentioned earlier, I went to Sarah First Kiddies Nursery Primary School, and I remember those days. My my heritage is from 28 Yaba Street, and good enough, my dad's office complex was very close to 28 Yaba Street, and the blessed memory of my grandma. Those is I went at school, I was on the taxi. Man, taxi to what? Every taxi one on the way is here. So I was on the taxi. I was Yaba. I have one auntie there, Auntie Amino. That's where we grew up. She had a very small tailoring shop. We'll be there. You would have muga ya. Muga ya kuli kuli atepa. Ya ba. So there, and it felt like life was simple. It felt like life was not that complicated. My grandma there was a great trader. Yeli guy, a blessed memory. Was a great trader, and we learned a lot about trading with her. Then she'll travel to the market, you go le Maroko, around the day, and she put us, in place of our business for us to like, to have a customer. So from there, in a little way, she was teaching us about how to interact in the general public, how to become a good communicator, which today I'm happy that I'm one today. So all of those little things, has probably like built the man in us or built the man in me today. So it was an amazing time, and I'm happy because a lot of times some of my mates, not about people school are lonely, but we after school hours we were more enlightened to life, general. So yeah, it was awesome. I can never forget 28 Yaba Street. Yaba was like it was like my homie in those days. And yeah, I remember I missed off a lot of Igbo people that were selling spare parts on 28 Yaba Street. We knew each other, got multicultural learnings and letting know other culture pretty much. But yeah, amazing times, right?
That's great.
Mm.
Would you travel far and wide, offshore Ondo? Are there some moments like there are some moments you'd miss? Sometimes you just miss home. Share us some of those experiences.
Yeah, I think there's a lot. One of the things I'll talk about is the spirit of the communalism. People coming together as a community, is one thing I feel for me. I miss a lot in Ondo, compared to when you go outside of Ondo or outside of the country. Away, oh wow, likely the real when you're down together than like article, sit down together as a community. And another thing, the most important is the language. We miss on the language, that language is probably the best dialect that you can ever think of in the world. It's quite amazing. It's funny. Nobody really Mondo for Ondo. Nobody wakare. You know information. It's a very funny dialect. You can feel it, and it gives you that originality. So there's no here. But most importantly, like I said, Ondo people are very loving people. They're very caring people. They're very, you know, they're not self-centered. Unlike Atika, if you're occasionally by, get in back, unlike when you have it in the Western world, nobody really cares about what's happening in the next door. But Ondo people are not like that. I'm married if you for over 3 or 4 days. I call it if you're occasionally get by. Yeah, see, you get what I'm trying to say. So those are some of the things I really, really missed a lot. And like I said, the dialect is superb, it's wonderful, it's amazing, and I missed a lot. And one other thing I think that I will call out is the fact that I used to be a radio person. I listened to a lot of radio, programs. And growing up, they grew up with a lot of like listening to radio, listening to Coco Niwero, and listening to all of those programs. I remember Babando those days. Now I listen to a lot of Babando those days. I'm really fascinated about this content and all of that. So yeah, all of those things are the things that I feel like I miss, and I hope that we can go back to the way things were. I know things are getting advanced every day, but I mean, this is what it is. So yeah.
Yeah, it is what it is. Yeah. So, what other things you feel like people don't really understand about you, and when you understand the umpire, we get.
Ah, big question.
No. Oh my God, this guy, different opinion, different people.
Well, okay. Everybody, that's a big question. Well, in my own opinion, I feel I think I see myself as a reserved individual. I think I don't really blow my trumpet a lot. And sometimes I reflect about the things I've done in the past, and I feel so much that there's a lot I've achieved, but most times I don't really blow my trumpet. People don't get to know much about me. But in all honesty, I see myself a bit as someone else might feel different, but I see myself as a very nice, very understanding, very reserved, very friendly, very welcoming individual, and I'm always willing to help pretty much in my own little way, as much as I can. I think I can. But I think people kind of like misconcept that as, especially when you're being overly reserved. People sometimes misconcept it as you being proud or you don't like to, you know, you don't like to like communicate, or you don't try to like associate yourself with people pretty much. But yeah, I think if you're very close to me, you realize that that's not it. It's, I'm very open to everybody, and yeah, and like I said, people might have a different opinion, but
Really?
that's what I think.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Ondo, I'm a local Goma, Afiesa, Gunondo. So growing up in Ondo, what are you going? Are there some places you like sometimes you still remember?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Yaba was one of the major locations where ṣebí Asagun Ondo tá máa kọjá ní Yaba. So mo rántí ìgbà yẹn lége when I was growing up, my grandma ate ọjà in 28 Yaba Street. So a lot of time, although our parents really encourage ẹ fi ká ṣe déédéé wọn, but you know understand Christianity and all of that. But mo rántí fi I experienced it, and for us then growing up, it was amazing. It was a lovely festival. We had that blues or powder they didn't want, although we didn't really know the nitty-gritty of what was going on there, but it was an experience for us. Today I liken Obu Festival to things like Halloween Festival. Pretty much so. No, so it was lovely, but unfortunately then, because of our community, we didn't really like appreciate it. A lot of our parents were not really a fan of it, but I expressed it a few times, and sometimes it scares us. Mo rántí ìgbà yẹn, à ń fi àrà àkàsáká máa dá dóde, à ń mú kíní lù, but it was amazing. It was fun. And again, like I said, we were young. We didn't really attach any meaning to it. We're just enjoying ourselves at having fun. So some of those things are the things that I will never forget. And apart from that, there's so many historical restaurants that we used to attend. I mentioned a few earlier when we were having a conversation off camera, and I said places like Aletile. Aletile there was on. I don't know whether it still exists these days, but it was the place where we were needs pounded yam and obefop and it's kind of no, what's a lot better apple garage. I think it's still existing today, but those places are the things that when I still come to Ondo, I still want to go there. I still want to have a taste of what taste like. So I can never forget those places. Even if I'm off Ondo for the next 10, 15 years, I'll still come back. I was telling a friend of mine, I said, what, can we do something like Global Lodun Plus or Global Lodun Advance and make it more modernized and all of that? But because these are places that you can never, never, never forget. Forever appreciate, the food that you ever had in those days. So yeah, amazing, amazing time. I can't tell it all, but look, that's all I can remember at the moment. Yeah.
That's great. So, Egi, being a marketing communication expert, how does it feel like?
Yeah, I mean, thank you for that question. And I think it's a long time coming. And I would say I've been a marketing communication expert for over a decade now. And sometimes when I try to remember how it all started, I would say essentially it actually came from passion for the media, the media world basically, and how I can actually, contribute to the wider society. I remember I said it earlier. I said I've always been a radio person, and I think unconsciously that's where some of those passion actually came from. Listening to radio when we were young, listening to the likes of Baba and Boo and all of that. So I think it's been amazing. And I'm thankful to God that, in the last couple of years, I've made so much contribution, both within Nigeria and outside of Nigeria, on so many big brands, essentially. I started pretty much being an on-air radio personality. Why am I saying that? I'm saying that because of the young people of today to say, look, whatever you find doing, and you feel like you're just joking around, there's something in it. There's something you need to like build yourself, and see that there's probably like a potential in it in the nearest future, and I think from there, I ended up finding myself, I'll try to find myself in the advertising world, and had lots of people that were inspiration to me. One of the person was my lovely uncle who is currently like the VJOFI of Ondo Kidop. He's one of the greatest advertising practitioner in Nigeria as of today. So I mean, in terms of my career profile, I've worked with numerous organizations. One of which is I work with Inside inside communication. That's why I started my career, and I spent over 6 years working with Insight in Lagos.
That's great.
And from there, I joined Dentsu International, one of the biggest advertising companies in the world as well. From there, I joined PhD Media, which was the last agency that I worked with in Nigeria. PhD Media is one of the sister company of Omnicom Group worldwide. And after that, spent about 7 years there. About I moved to the United Kingdom, where again, like I said, continue that journey of marketing communication, where I joined the biggest advertising company, one of the biggest advertising company in the world, WPP. Where I joined Essence Media Corner, where I am currently as a regional planning manager, in charge of, the mass business. Some of us might not be associated with it, but the producers of Snickers chocolate bar and Twix chocolate bar, And I mean, I'm privileged to be one of the guys that I actually control when it comes to communication strategy across Europe, the likes of the UK, France, Germany, Poland, and and Netherlands as well. So yeah, it's been a journey, right? And what do I have to say to young people who probably are also aiming to like achieve so much in the nearest future? To say, look, there's no limit to what you can achieve. There's no limits. You just have to keep pushing. You just have to keep doing what you need to do. You just got to. And at the end of the day, there's a God factor in everything you do. In as much as you feel like there's so much talented, you got the leverage, you still need to hope for grace from God Almighty to put you through and guide you in everything you do. So yeah, I'm so elevated, and I'm thankful to God, and I feel so much like this is just the starting point. There's a lot that we can actually still achieve, and there's a lot of respect that I can actually bring to the king of being an ongoing DJ. If there is featured. Yeah. So I mean, there's so many wonderful brands, the likes of Nine Mobile. I remember I was one of the team members that actually brought Nine Mobile into the country. When it first started, we are almost like 12 years ago. But it was those days. And I'm also proud to say the first ever fully digital bank in Nigeria, Wema at, I led in the campaign that actually introduced that bank into Nigeria. And today, Wema Alert is one of the biggest fully digital bank that everybody's using today. Talk about MTN. I work on the MTN business for over a year. I work on the Pepsi business over a year in terms of marketing communication. So I'm excited because there's a lot of brand that I feel like I can associate myself with. I'm currently in the last few weeks, I've just recently launched a new brand platform for the Twix business across Europe, like I mentioned to you, in the UK and France, in Germany, in Poland, as well as in the Netherlands. And in the next couple of weeks, I'm also working on a campaign for the Snickers chocolate bar for Snickers football campaign ahead of the 2025 Women's World Cup, across the world as well. So there's a lot that I feel like is in my portfolio, and I feel like, yeah, it's just the beginning, right? There's still a lot to actually do. I've got a lot of professionals who have done so much well, in the last few years, and I feel like I look up to them every day. I said I can do much more. Especially being an Ondo engineer, being a Nigerian who's probably going global as well. So yeah, it's amazing, and I must say that that's one of the reasons why, when it comes to communication, when it comes to marketing communication and the media world entirely, I'm so much interested. I'm kudos to you guys, and say I need to jump on this platform and see how I can actually be a supporter of it as well. Yeah. So yeah, I miss it stuff.
All right, thank you. So, Abavida will join you about your transitioning has always been the communication, marketing, and all. Then, do it by she. What would you rather be? Where would you rather be?
I don't know, man. Um, yeah, I think I'll probably be like, be a politician. Yeah, maybe. Well,
Where ye? Emi Would you travel? Well-traveled person. Now, keep waiting real doing the next 10 years, like as in development-wise.
um, good question. When I try to sort it out, but surely, like you said, I grew up in this town, and over the years, but you really level of development, you know why? And I'm very honest, I don't really think there's been a lot that has happened the last couple of years, the last 20-25 years. And it's very sad. We get to this year. Mumofi, the likes of Ondo development community, and try, and try to say one or two things to help things. But I feel like there's a lot that we can still do. So get my location. Like you said, I've traveled the continent, I've traveled the world. So to I've seen things, mo ti rí oríṣiríṣi, and same thing according to our leaders, they've also traveled and said oríṣiríṣi. They know what and what we need, you know. But it's quite unfortunate. We can only hope for the best, but I feel like there's a lot that can be taught. So I would say in the next 10 years, it doesn't look, this to be very honest, I'm not trying to like downplay the progress of the community. But with the way things are going, with level of development, it doesn't seem like there's a huge hope, And you can see that's why a lot of our young people are, running away from the town every now and then, which is a sad thing. Sugar nation, you can't blame young people, they've all got dreams. Everyone got dreams. You don't expect them to stay in an environment where their dreams are, keep dying every day. You get what I'm saying? So I just want to use the medium to like employ our leaders, our fathers, who are probably at the ends of affairs, to say, look, what can we do better to our young people? It's sad. When you see a lot of young people with potentials, and they feel like they cannot really achieve what they need to achieve in their own town. So it gets in my business. So in terms of development, I'm sorry to say it doesn't sound as if anything so massive is going to happen in the next 5-10 years, except something tangible is being done. It's a magic. I'm a part of it's a magic. You have to do something for something to happen. You cannot just sit back and keep praying. Yeah, it's good to pray, it's good to hope and everything, but you need to take steps for anything to happen. You get what I'm trying to say? So yeah, I can only try and speak to our leaders and speak to our community leaders, our kingmakers, and say, look, let's do more. I'm one of the persons that is privileged to know some of the things that the Ondo development community is doing. I'm privileged to work with the Ondo development community in terms of creating awareness about Ikemogunde in the last couple of years or so, and I know the effort. And I'm not trying to downplay the effort that's real, but I'm saying let's do more. Let's help the people. Let's make sure, even if the community is maybe far away from the state government, there's a little what the state government can do or something, but this is us. This is our community, and yeah, we can only hope for the best, pretty much. Thank you.
Okay. Ẹgbọ́n jápa náà tán jápa náà sì àwọn ọmọ wa dédé fẹ́ sá lọ dédé wọn tí ẹ sì lọ tán. So key advice ẹ kan people wọ̀nyí.
Well, japa or no japa, that's not the issue. So we get to my vision. Issue ni àná, àwọn bá wa àti iye wa, they travel abroad. So we get to my vision. But the difference is that the word that we had in those days is different from the word that we had today. So in those days, àwọn bá wa yé wa, gbàmú school cert àti primary school certificate ní àwọn japa. And they will survive. But these days, the world has gone beyond that. So my own point of view is that, look, if you want to chapa, you should ask yourself the question to say, what do you have to offer the world? You get what I mean? Not just because anybody japa, anybody don't japa, or she go, but what everyone what's the purpose? The reason we will lọ ṣe fi bí àbò lágbájá ọ̀bí ọmọ lágbájá kan jápa ìwọ náà fi gbé báàgì yẹn, my brother, jápa. That could be the costliest mistake anybody will make. So get me your vision. So you need to be able to ask yourself to say, what am I going to do over there? What do I want to achieve? Have a purpose, right? Because I'm about our Nigeria do abroad. Every country has their own challenges, right? The same way things might be difficult in Nigeria, and the same way things are difficult abroad as well. You don't go to abroad and just sleep on the road and pick money on the floor. You have to work for it. So you need to be able to ask yourself, also, and it's also good for education purpose, for tourism, for enlightenment, to be able to see what's happening in the world, right? It's today, the world of technology. Technology is driving everything. AI is driving everything. So it's good, just so you know you're not limited to your environment, just so you know you're a bit more exposed and you can actually know a lot of things happening in the outside world. So it's a good thing, no doubt about it. But in as much as it's a good thing, you need to ask yourself the question, why are you doing this? And what is the purpose? At the end of the day, what do you want to achieve? You don't do it because of peer pressure. You don't do it because somebody is doing it or because you have friends who have done it. You get my point? And the truth about this is that life abroad, no one is going to tell you exactly how things are until you actually experience it and you know that for yourself. So, I mean, and that's, I think I would just advise the young people today and say, look, if you really want to like travel abroad, you know, you need to really to create value, essentially, and you need to have purpose. You need to be purpose driven, you know, before you pick up your bags and travel abroad. And most importantly, Magbaguli,
Magbaweoli. I love that. Magbaweoli.
no place like
My
home.
home.
No matter how you feel so comfortable, no matter how you feel like you got all the amenities, no matter how you feel like you got the roads, you've got the electricity and everything, look, there's absolutely no place like home.
So, Wenjo, thank you, Bigdamfad. Thank you for coming on our show. Oshegun, I appreciate. So, come back again and when you're in UK, US, Switzerland, all wide world. Then can subscribe to the channel. Then they can Bawa Road. It's our own.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And thank you for the amazing opportunity. You're watching, just keep watching. Subscribe to this channel, share it, tell your friends. Ondonostalgia is here to stay. Catch you next on the next episode.